Hello dear students, myself Professor Mishramkar Sunitra, Assistant Professor from Department of English, JAT, Arts, Science and Commerce College for Women, Maligaon. The topic of my presentation is the war poem written by Wilfred Owen, Strange Meeting. Strange Meeting was written by Wilfred Owen. It is his most famous and most enigmatic poem. Owen was a soldier in the First World War. He wrote Strange Meeting in the summer of 1918 while serving on the Western Front in the First World War. The poem was published in 1919 after Owen's death in the war. The poem's speaker, who is also a soldier, has descended to hell. There he meets a soldier from the opposite army. He reveals at the end of the poem that the speaker was the one who killed him. The poem is deeply pessimistic as it reflects on the shared humanity of these two men, as well as the horrors of war. The poem suggests that human beings aren't going to stop fighting anytime soon. It also calls for such violence to be replaced by reconciliation and solidarity. The title of the poem may be taken from P.B. Shelley's famous poem, The Revolt of Islam. The Strange Meeting describes the horrors of war and its futility. In this poem, the speaker is a soldier who dies in war and enters the hell. Let's focus on the text. So dear students, let's focus on the text. It seemed that out of battle I escaped, down some profound dull tunnel, long since scooped, through granites which titanic wars had groined. Yet also there encumbered sleepers groaned, too fast in thought or death to be bestirred. Then as I probed them, one sprang up and stared, with piteous recognition in his fixed eyes, lifting distressful hands as if to bless, and by his smile I knew that sullen hall. By his dead smile I knew we stood in hell. With thousand fears that vision's face was grained, yet no blood reached there from the upper ground, and no guns thumped or down the flues made moan. Strange friend, I said, here is no cause to moan. None, said the other, save the undone years, the hopelessness. Whatever hope is yours was my life also. I went hunting wild after the wildest beauty in the world, which lies no calm in eyes or braided hair, but mocks the steady running of the hour, and if it grieves, grieves richlier than here. For by my glee might many men have laughed, and of my weeping something had been left, which must die now. I mean the truth untold, the pity of war distilled. Now men will go content with what we spoiled, or discontent, boil bloody and be spilled. They will be swift with swiftness of the tigress. None will break ranks, though nations trek from progress. Courage was mine, and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine, and I had mastery, to miss the march of this retreating world into vain citadels that are not walled. Then, when much blood had clogged their chariot wheels, I would go up and wash them from sweet wells, even with truths that lie too deep for taint. I would have poured my spirit without stint, but not through wounds, not on the seas of war. For heads of men have bled where no wounds were. I am the enemy. You killed my friend. I knew you in this dark, for you so frowned yesterday, though me as you jabbed and killed. I parried, but my hands were loath and cold. Let's sleep now. Let's sleep now. Heroic deeds or grand victories, but it treats war as horrifying, wasteful, and dehumanizing. In other words of the enemy soldier, it presents the pity of war distilled. According to the poem, war destroys the landscape in which it is fought. It erodes the natural solidarity between human beings. It turns people into mortal enemies who might be friends if they would have met at another place. It robs the soldier's capacity to speak truth. And finally, the trauma of war lingers even after the battle is over. Dear students, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki is a good example of the trauma of war. The effects of the bombing are still felt even after so many years. In this poem, Wilfred Owen has escaped war and plunged into deep tunnel. The poet, being killed in the war, is driven to the underworld. He is the narrator. He describes the deep dark tunnel in which he finds himself. He describes war as a fundamentally destructive force. And he used the word titanic wars. In the tunnel, the speaker finds himself with other soldiers. He finds that he is in hell. As the speaker proceeds down a long tunnel through ancient granite formation, he hears the groan of sleepers. They are either dead or too full of thoughts to get up. As he looks at them, one leaps up. The soldier has recognized him and moves his hands as if to bless him. Because of the soldier's dead smile, the speaker realizes that he is in hell. The enemy soldier announces that, "I am the enemy you killed, my friend." This line is paradoxical. One can wonder how the soldier can be both enemies and friends. On the face of the vision, the speaker sees 1,000 fears, but the blood, guns, or moans of above did not reach into the subterranean retreat. The speaker tells the soldier that there is no reason to mourn, but he replies that there is. It is the undone years and hopelessness. The soldier says his hope is the same as the speaker's. He also tells him he once went hunting the beauty of the world, but that beauty made a mockery of time. He knows that the truth of what he did, which is the pity of war and the pity war distilled. But now he can never share it. The soldier continues saying, men will go on with what is left to them, or they will die as well. They will not break their ranks even though nations trek from progress. He used to have courage and wisdom. He would wash the blood from the wheels of chariot. He wanted to pour his spirit out, but not in war. Finally, he says to the speaker that, I am the enemy you killed, my friend. He knew the narrator. He recognized the narrator in the dark, and he said to him that it was yesterday that you jabbed and killed me, and now it is time to sleep. The poet tells a strange friend about their escape from war, bloodshed, and gunshots as they are in the hell. But the stranger is not ready to agree with the poet. The stranger narrates his story to the poet. Before entering the hell, he was a young man with lots of dream. He had hope and vision. He was interested to explore the wildest beauty in the world. He did not crave for physical beauty, but he went in search of the beauty he found in art and literature. Here, he mourns at the sudden death caused by war. He desires to live a life on earth along with his friends and family. He is aware about the hidden truth of war, which is the pity of war and the pity war distilled. He informs the narrator about the futility of war. He claims that though courage, valor, and intelligence he was having, he understood the plight of war. At the end of the poem, the strange soldier, reveals his true identity. It means the speaker is able to recognize the poet who stabbed him to death. He tried hard to protect himself, but his hands were unwilling and weak. The poem ends saying, let's sleep now. Here, the strange friend suggests that he and the speaker, now they have fought and killed each other, should go to sleep. At least in death, they are at peace. Fortunately, the truth about the horror of war does not have to die with him. Dear students, the poem is renowned for its technical innovation, particularly the para-rhyme. A para-rhyme is a slant or partial rhyme in which the words have similar consonants before and after, unlike vowels. The examples of para-rhyme are escaped and scooped, groaned and grained, hair and hour, etc. Almost all of the end lines in this poem are para-rhyme. The last line is a notable exception. Critics have noticed that this rhyme scheme has added melancholy, subterranean, and bleak atmosphere to the poem. Through this poem, Wilfred Owen has given a message or a suggestion to readers. He asks readers to take pity on other people as well as on themselves before it is too late. Thank you.